Yo, what is good YouTube? I am Richie Kim, and today I'm going to be bringing you all my performance review on the Nike KD11. Before we get started, if you all enjoy sneaker content just like this, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button down below. But anyways, let's get into it. As always, starting off with the traction, the KD11 features this multi-directional wavy traction pattern that pretty much covers the whole outsole, and on this specific pair, it is a translucent rubber, and translucent rubbers with Nike usually don't do that well, and solid rubbers usually perform better. But on this shoe, the translucent rubber performed pretty well, at least it did on clean courts. So on clean courts, the bite is really good and it has really nice stopping power. But if you play on your mildly dusty to hella dusty courts, like your average 24-hour fitness or LA Fitness, you guys are probably gonna run into some problems. For me, the traction was super inconsistent on my local court that I pretty much always play on, and that is a 24-hour fitness, so it is a little dusty. Sometimes it has its days where it's really clean, but on average it is a dusty court, and on that court I slipped up quite a bit. So when you're trying to stop on a dime, you don't stop on a dime, you really just slide quite a bit, and that is just really annoying. And just to prove my point, even on clean courts, I have seen this shoe fail in terms of traction. I was watching a video of KD doing some practice runs, and he was wearing the KD11s, and he just tried to do a little step back, and you could see his foot slide a little bit, and I know he was playing on a pretty clean court. So like I said, the traction does seem to be pretty inconsistent, but on super clean courts, you guys really shouldn't have too many problems. So overall traction was definitely not too great, but it wasn't terrible. So for traction on the shoe, I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. Moving on to the cushion in the KD11, which in my opinion is probably the best aspect of the shoe. The KD11 features full-length React and full-length Zoom Air, and like I said, the cushion is freaking amazing in the shoe. It's super comfortable. For me, I really like full-length Zoom. If you guys don't know already, I think full-length Zoom is the best cushion setup ever. And then on top of that, they combine it with full-length React, and it feels really nice. At first, the cushion is a little bit stiff, but just after a little bit of playtime, the cushion breaks in really nicely, and you really just feel that Zoom. You feel just how comfortable the shoe is in general. You do feel a little bit high off the ground, but personally, I'm totally okay with that because of just the overall cushion setup in the shoe. Like I said, full-length React, full-length Zoom Air, cannot beat it. It's a super comfortable shoe. Even off court, this shoe is extremely comfortable. On court, it's even better because you really engage the cushion. Cushion in the KD11 is the best part of the shoe. For cushion, I'm going to give the KD11 a 9.5 out of 10. So moving on to the materials, the KD11 does feature full-length Flyknit, and the materials are so-so just because of the way they implemented the Flyknit into the shoe. So on different parts of the shoe, the Flyknit is slightly different. Up in the toe box area, it is a slightly stiffer Flyknit, so I think it's a TPU infused Flyknit up in the toe box, whereas in the midfoot area, it's that soft Flyknit that we really like, and that pretty much covers this whole midfoot area and even on the tongue. And then on the back, Flyknit is underneath the shroud, which is some synthetic suede or nubuck or something. But overall, like I said, this is a full-length Flyknit shoe. When it comes to the materials, I'm not too disappointed, but I am slightly disappointed because I think the implementation could have been a lot better. I think Nike should have used the softer Flyknit up in the toe box area and the stiffer TPU infused Flyknit around the midfoot area, because the materials on the shoe, although it is nice, it feels great on foot, it is definitely not the best for basketball because it really does lack support in the areas that you need it, which I'll get to later. Just keep in mind that I wish that they switched up the way they use the Flyknit, so softer Flyknit in the toe box area and that TPUs infused Flyknit on the midfoot, and I think the shoe would have performed a lot better than it does right now. One more thing about the shoe is the Flyknit around the tongue. It is nice and stretchy, but it's also extremely thin, and I'm one of those players that really likes to crank down his laces to get that nice locked in feel. And because the Flyknit is so thin in the tongue area, if you do crank down your laces, you just feel the laces digging into your foot and it's uncomfortable. So that's another thing that I really wish they would change on the shoe. So overall, you know, Flyknit is a nice material, but the way they implemented the Flyknit on this shoe could have been a lot better. So for materials, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. So moving on to the fit, I think the KD11 fits pretty much like any other KD signature shoe, and it's a little bit long and a little bit narrow, but because of the materials used on the shoe, I went true to size and I'm a slightly wide footer, and the shoes felt pretty okay to me. There was some pinching pain at first in the forefoot area, but it loosened up to the point where it felt pretty comfortable, and I didn't really have that much pain in the forefoot. So if you guys are slightly wide footers, I think you guys can go true to size. If you guys are extremely wide footers, I'd recommend trying these on in stores because it still may be way too narrow for you. But like I said, I'm a slightly wide footer, and going true to size felt just fine for me after a little bit of break-in time. Other than that, the KD11 is a one booty upper, and I feel like the fit on the shoe is actually really nice. So for fit, I'm going to give the shoe an 8.5 out of 10. So moving on to the support, this is where the KD11 really suffered. And you know, the past few KD models haven't been too good in the support area, and it continues to trend in the KD11. So lateral support, man, I felt my foot slipping off the footbed a lot. So at first, when the materials weren't completely broken in, I felt like my foot was actually pretty contained. I didn't have that much slipping off the footbed like upon lateral movements. But once the Flyknit broke in and this stuff just stretched out, I could really feel my foot sliding over the footbed at times, and it felt like I was gonna roll my ankle, and it's definitely not a pleasant feeling. That's why I was saying before, I wish that they would switch up the Flyknit implementation, making the midfoot part of the shoe have that TPU infused Flyknit, whereas the toe box should have the softer Flyknit. It would just offer better lateral containment, and I think the shoe would have played a lot better if they did that. So lateral support really wasn't there. I feel like this is an extremely dangerous shoe to play in, especially if you're the kind of player that likes to make hard cuts. In the heel, I really didn't have any problems. Zero heel slippage, zero movement in the heel at all. Like, the heel was fine, but in the forefoot, I had a lot of problems upon lateral movements. I also think that the use of the fly wire cables and like just pretty much traditional lacing system does help with like the lockdown of your foot, at least like from the top of the shoe to the bottom of the shoe, but lateral support really was not there. For support in the shoe, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. So the KD11 retails for $150, which is the same price as the previous two KD models, which is a great thing in my opinion. And you know, for the cushion, it's really nice, but that support is just not good. Like, I felt extremely scared to play in the shoe, but you know, I pushed through it, and thankfully, like, I didn't roll my ankle or anything. But the lateral support in the shoe really isn't there, and I think it's on par with being just as bad as a KD10, which I thought was abysmal. If you guys are KD fans, then I'd say pick up a pair, but be very cautious if you guys are gonna play basketball in these shoes. Personally, I would not recommend this shoe unless cushion is like your most, like, it needs to be the best thing, and that's the only thing you care about. Then sure, get the KD11 because the cushion is really nice. But if you're like an overall good performing basketball sneaker, I would not get the KD11s. Playing in these shoes had me scared for my ankles, and I feel like other players feel the exact same way. That's pretty much it for this performance review. If you all like this video, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button down below, and also smash that thumbs up button for me, as it really does help me out. While you guys are at it, check out this video on my left and on my right, and that's pretty much it. Until next time, peace.